people should really appreciate their friends. My friends have carried me through the whole journey from the amputation to even I did a blood run when he was in hospital, and it was during COVID. And what the amount of people who came through for me, it affected him a lot. First of all, there's something called phantom limb, where you imagine your legs are there and you remember those wounds and you can feel it. Let me tell you one thing. Nairobi has very few places that are wheelchair friendly, mostly social.
Yeah.
I would tell you for free.
Hi, welcome to the Unseen Life Experience, where we highlight the unseen stories of Africans living with both visible and invisible disabilities. Today, we feature Renee Muthoni, who was indirectly impacted by her brother's experience as a double amputee. She's here to raise awareness on how diabetes can lead to disability. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming. And once again, thank you so much for sharing your story.
I appreciate being here and being given the opportunity.
Thank you so much. So let's get right into it. Tell us, who is Renee Muthoni?
In this particular minute right now, or this session, I am here as Renee Muthoni, but speaking on behalf of my brother, Kevin Karanja, who I think is the reason that has given me this platform, and because of his situation is why we are here today.
Okay. So tell us a bit about Kevin Karanja.
So Kevin passed on 30th of January, but before that, he was a very strong young man, because in his journey, by the age of 30, he was diagnosed with diabetes. And 2020, he unfortunately got amputated, bilateral amputee, which means now it's both legs. But both legs under the knee. So yeah, so I think he's a very great man, because he survived, is it almost 3 years, and fought a great fight. So he's an amazing person.
What did he do? Did he have a family?
Yes, Kevin was first in a lot of things, even starting the family. He got his son at 24. He made me an auntie when I was very young, because I'm the sister, last born, and we were just the two of us. So it's just me and him. He was my firstborn brother, and then me. So he had his son called Malik, and he was a businessman. He dealt with car accessories and selling motor vehicles. So he used to soup up cars and pimp them out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and also import for you.
And when we had the conversation about this interview, you mentioned something about his nickname. Could you tell us more about that and what he was known for?
Yeah, so Fat K. He was a big guy. I think he'll share his photos. So it was not fat like F-A-T. It was P-H-A-T-K. And if you missed the fat, he would correct you and tell you, no, he's fat. P-H-A-T, fabulous. So yeah, so he was nicknamed Fat K. And we grew up in South Sea, so he was a bit younger than the Isas and the K-Rapt. So he went following them. He was their driver. He looked up to them. So he was quite trendsetting. If anyone in his age group, he was a big deal. If it was the social media era as it is right now, he'd be blowing up. Nice. On the likes and YouTube and everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us about, you mentioned he was diagnosed with diabetes at 30.
Yeah.
Before that, did he live a healthy life? What was his quality of life like before he got to 30?
I wouldn't say he was into fitness or anything, but he was not always in and out of hospital, the sickly. He was actually very normal. I would just say normal, because, okay, he had the weight, but let me tell you, if there's anyone who could stand, it was him. He could stand, because as I was telling you, he does the car accessories, and he could stand in his garage for 3 hours without sitting down. And even if you tell me right now, I can't do that. And I think I live a fitter life than he was. So he lived, I would actually say, a normal, healthy 30-year-old life. Of course, not liking the carbs because he was a big guy, but I would say it was healthy life until now the situation happened. So my parents are separated. So we found out that my dad's mom had diabetes and even his brother. And I would just, since I'm in this platform, I would like to tell people to do a lot of history about the family, because that's when, after he was diagnosed, I think my mom had a conversation with my dad and was like, is there anyone on your side who's, because on my side we are cool. And that's when we found out my grandmother, his brother. So it was actually very strong in his side. So I would just like to advise people to know more about their history, about their health history in their families, because that's why it came about.
And how did he get diagnosed?
In fact, in the beginning, it was a misdiagnosed. He was told he had lack of vitamin D, because diabetes attacks any part of your body. It can attack your nerves, your legs, even your teeth, like even your eyesight. So for him, it was his legs. He stopped moving. Like he would walk and not walk. Like you see, right now, if you tell me to stand, I would stand. He would take like a few seconds to gather himself. So the pacing started. He started pacing slowly. You would notice you'd be like, for someone who was always up and down, he's walking a bit slow. So we ended up in India. When we went to India, they said he had a nerve issue, and they sorted it out. The only thing I would also tell people is, if you have an issue like, diabetes is lifelong. It's not something that you can change. Like you can say, oh, it's stop. You can manage it, but it won't. You just have to learn to manage it. So by the time the nerves are affected to a point where he was in a crutch, by the time we were leaving to go to India, you should frequent India more. I wish we did that. I wish when he got stronger, we were like, he's okay now, we moved on. But I wish we went frequent and got like just even the routine checkups if you can afford. Yeah, so that's when now he was diagnosed with a nerve issue. I'm telling you, we went with crutches, but we left without crutches. So it was in 10 days.
Wow.
So it was quite smooth. So we ended up going on holiday the next year to Rwanda, to some hot springs. So in the hot springs, it's hot, but he can't feel the heat. So I don't think he was jumping when we were jumping. I think he was just walking like he's walking on normal ground, because I could not imagine how his whole foot burnt on one side. So we go back to the room. We are tired. We've had a good day. We had even amazing photos in that place. And he was even having a beer there. Like, it was a beautiful, we had so many laughs. And he wakes up in the morning. He calls me. He's like, Rene, come to my room. I'm like, what is it? Just come. He finds a bedsheet stuck to the sole of his foot. And I'm like, wow, how did you get here? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, you're not feeling burning? He's like, no, I wasn't feeling it. So we go to the hospital. I would actually say Kenya, we are a bit advanced in medical, because they looked at him and they were like, hey, you guys need to be airlifted. Like, they really panicked. So I just called his doctor and told him, this is the situation. He's like, just come home. I'm like, do we have to airlift him? He's like, no, just tell them. He guided them on the phone what to do. And he's like, come back to Kenya. So we got there. I'll tell you for free that the hospitals don't have wound specialists. These are normally outside trained people who just deal with mostly diabetic wounds, because they don't heal as fast as you'd imagine. So that's how now in 1 year, he ended up dealing with that foot. So as it just got better, he hit his leg on a door. And that's how he ended up with gangrene. And the toes started dying too. And then we went from, you lose 2 toes, to now, let's cut 1 leg, to now, let's cut the second leg. Because now the infection is so much. In fact, he was told all his organs are infected. It was even a miracle he could remember us, because the doctor was like, this is bad.
So just take us back to after he hit his leg on the door.
Yeah.
They needed to remove 2 toes.
Yeah.
Because they were infected.
Yeah, they lost life. They were just turning black.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, the infection started spreading to the whole leg. So eventually one leg,
Yes.
and then to the second leg.
Yeah, so when they did as we thought it would, but then after the first amputation, we were like, he's going to be okay. So they still did the test and they're like, this infection has now spread to the other leg. And you'd be shocked how when now this happens to your family member or someone close to you, you'll hear, oh, my uncle is in the village. He lost his leg. He's diabetic. Oh, so you Google right now how many amputees are there because of diabetes, and you'd be so shocked. And I wish the first time we were diagnosed, someone sat down to us and told us the most thing you take care of are your feet. Because once your feet get anything, it's going to be trouble.
And what was the duration between the first amputation and the last amputation?
It was like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. We were in hospital for 51 days.
And what was it like for Kevin? Did he receive any therapy to help him adjust to what was happening to him at that time?
Yeah, there was a counselor who saw him in the hospital, in the ward. But at some point, he kept telling me he doesn't see why he would be talked to by someone when he's sleeping in bed and not like in a casual setting like we are. So he told me to cut off these sessions. He was like, I don't like this, someone is sitting on top of me. And I tell you, the worst thing about being an amputee is he was tall. He was quite tall. So the one thing you don't notice is this person is always looking up. So it's quite in fact, he told me the first instance of being an amputee is learning how to always look up. And normally you would be the one looking down with your height. So yeah, so he got the therapy. I talked to my friend. She sent me a guy who had it's called a bio. He has polio, so he was born with polio and he's disabled. And he introduced me to him, and he came and talked to him. But my brother told me it's not. His advice is not hitting because this guy was born like this.
Understandable. So he doesn't
He's
understand
like,
what he's going
and he
through.
always used to tell me, bring for me someone who has been cut both legs, and not when they were a kid, when they are fully grown. So that's why he refused any more therapy. Told me the day I listen to someone is if they will sit me down. Don't talk to me about one leg, because this one leg someone will balance on it somehow, on a crutch or something. It's like zero
Yeah.
in a span of 2 weeks. Then now talk to me. So he actually went through the fight on his own. YouTube was his friend because he found now people that had now even no arms, no legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From diabetes.
Even not for him, it was not even about diabetes, even war. He was just like, as long as it's sudden,
Okay.
it worked for him. Yeah.
And so he left hospital. He was on a wheelchair.
Yes.
What was the process? Did he eventually get prosthetics?
Yes, but it was not as easy as it seems. First, he was heavy. So you can imagine you're putting your weight onto something foreign. So he used to get blisters because you're putting this, they're called stumps once they're amputated. So you're putting your stumps inside. And being diabetic, you're very sensitive. So any blister will take 3 days for me, it will take 3 weeks for him. So we had very many setbacks. But the doctors were very encouraging because I think they also went back to their research and they found they got me like a sponge. Like it was trial and error. We used to try this, socks, these socks. We tried so many things, but eventually we found a solution. But this is after 2020, he never walked. 2021, 2022 is when he got his bearing.
Wow. And how did this start to affect him?
It affected him because it affected him a lot. First of all, there's something called phantom limb, where you imagine your legs are there and you remember those wounds and you can feel it. And if you Google it, because I remember I had to Google it, and it says you're like a madman, like it's like burning. So there are some things that were no one could understand him. So like there's a day he woke up and he just cramped. He's like, Rene, I can't feel it. Even he would go to his bed and sit next to him because you're saying he's not having his feet. But he would move. He would do. Like I've sat on his legs.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing. It's phantom. You still feel like they're there. Because your whole life and something is getting rid of. Just suddenly. So it really affected him. My mom prayed a lot. It affected me. Even seeing him like that, it was very foreign. I was like, wow, what is all this? Like, how can it? Till today, my mom was like, maybe Keva would still be alive if it was one leg, not two. Why two? So, because there are very rare cases that you actually get double amputee from diabetes. It's normally one and it gets okay. So, socially, and the anxiety going to a place. Let me tell you one thing. Nairobi has very few places that are wheelchair friendly, mostly social.
Yeah.
I would tell you for free. He taught me to go to a place and do survey. And I used to get so excited. I used to be like, what? I've gone to a place where they've thought of everything, from the lift to the sitting to the what. And I get so excited. I'm like, I have to take my brother here. Till now, even when he's not there, I actually go like, I'll give this guy a 10 on wheelchair accessibility. So it affects your every movement. Like going on a plane. We went on holiday and my brother said, I'm never going to go on a plane until I get my legs. Because first of all, the airport is going on a frenzy because it was a local flight. We have to be given the lift where you go up. You're always the last person to leave the plane. So you can never be in a hurry. You can never say, oh, I have a meeting. So as much as someone will say your life will go on, but it actually is always delayed.
Let's just talk about that experience flying with him.
Yeah.
Did he get any additional support in the airport? What
Yes,
was that like?
the good thing about the airport is once you enter the airport, you are the liability of the airport. So my brother got a full-time nurse. So he always had his nurse for 24 hours. They used to take shifts. So if even one is on holiday, someone else will come in. So, yeah. So he always had his nurse. But once we got to the airport, he's no longer the nurse's care. He's now part of the airport crew. They were very, like, happy faces, smiles. I wouldn't say that we were ever. But it's just that you used to walk into a place, but now there are so many things that are being done. First, you have to notify them before you come that you have a person. First of all, people forget that there is being a complete amputee where you cannot walk at any point or stand. You drag yourself. So when you tell someone, everyone will be like, can he stand? And you're like, we can hold on to him. He's like, standing where? So now those were the challenges.
So did you start to notice that he was taking it a bit hard?
Yeah, instantly it was, even just to tell him, because I remember I had to be the one to tell him. I'm very close with him. So I was the one to tell him next to the doctor that, Kevo, you're going to lose one leg. Then the one that broke me was, Kevo, now the infection has not gone. You're going to lose the other leg. And he was like, wow, how will I live? I'm like, instantly I go on my phone and I Google. I'm like, have you seen that there are some cool prosthetics? Cool ones, cool. Like, hey, you'll be gangster. You'll be like Robocop. And deep down, I'm like, what the hell is going on? How are we going to live? First of all, we live in a 2-story house. So from the entrance, I remember we have a relative. Hi, Bruce. Bruce was like, me, I'm going to sell my car. We're going to put Forever a lift in the house.
A lift?
It was crazy because we were like, how is he always going to get to his room?
Yeah.
So we got a... thank God we're in 2023. I mean, 2022 then. 2020, yeah. So we got a staircase that actually turns into an escalator where you tilt it down and it just levels up from China. So that that saved us.
And what other changes did you have to make to your house and your way of living?
So thank God we live in a big house. It's a 5-bedroom house. So we're lucky that now, first of all, we are now one person fully there, which is a nurse. So his room had to be near my brother because in case his phone is far and he can shout. So I used to have an office. So my office changed into the nurse's room. I had never changed my bathroom. It used to be a bathtub. So I used to, when I feel like having a quick shower, I'll go to that room. So I had to transform my room into a shower. Yeah, and also we made one bathroom into a PWD bathroom where you put they're called commodes where they can shower on there because this other one gets wet, the normal one. So you can how many wheelchairs am I talking about? The normal everyday wheelchair that you move with him every day. We have the lift wheelchair that has to be charged because it's using electricity. If it's not charged, anyone blunders, meaning my brother will sit downstairs till we had to work, we had to be organized. Then there's a commode. So those are 3 wheelchairs. Yeah, it's quite expensive.
Yeah. Eventually, did the amputation or what led to his passing?
Okay, so I've talked about Kevin drinking a lot. So of course also his liver got a beating, but the liver is the most forgiving organ. So he recovered because there's a time the doctors were like, when now he was checked into hospital for the diabetes because he was there for like a while before we went to India. And they were like, your liver has, but it's very forgiving. It will grow back because it shrinks in some cases due to abuse of alcohol. So, it was forgiving. Then I think, sometimes you can't really tell about some things because it just happens and you're like, even if I go back and ask myself, what is this really happening? It's not going to change. So someone just told us that he's been taking a lot of medicine. I think he used to take 15 tabs a day.
Wow.
So it consumed the liver. So we had to go to India again, this time to do a whole transplant. Fun fact no one tells you is the agent I had never told me is you have to be a direct relative. You have to go with documents stating your relationship, stamped by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, showing that eligibility, that your government knows that this is happening and they're verified even by a lawyer.
The transplant specifically?
Yeah, because this is an organ that someone else, we don't want organ trafficking. You're in a foreign country. They don't know the authenticity of the documents you're So there's a lot of lawyer work and the government stamps. And then you get clearance from the High Commission of Kenya in New Delhi. So we went for the transplant. This was we left Kenya October, the last day of October. It's actually a process. When they first told me, I knew I was going to be the donor. And I was like, yeah, I'm so glad I'm ready to have his car and I'm ready to be the one to give him. And funny enough, I was not the same blood group as he was, so I couldn't be a donor. So we had to look for another relative, a direct relative, where we could say the mother, my grandparents, from here, this is my cousin, because now I got my cousin's son, so that's my nephew, who was a donor. And mind you have to stay in India for 1 month. So someone has to be ready to stay. It's a sacrifice. First, you'll have a scar, you're going to go through an operation, and you're going to be in India for a whole month. So we did the transplant, and it was successful. He survived a 14-hour surgery, but now there was something called a bile leak.
Bile leak?
Yes. So the bile leak could not be contained. It kept getting worse. Normally it goes like low on its own. And he died during the surgery to correct the bile leak. Yes.
So he didn't wake up from the second surgery.
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. And what at this point, while you're looking for a new donor, you are still in India.
Yeah, I never left my brother at any point.
Okay.
I stopped my work, everything. I said, I'm going to take care of this guy.
Could you tell us a bit about the going to India experience? What's something that people don't know?
First of all, it's damn expensive. A transplant was $38,000. So roughly, with the current rate, 5 million. So you have to have money.
Yeah.
Mind you, we had a fundraising when he was in hospital being amputated. Now that was in 2020, because our bill in Aga Khan was 10 million. So how do we go back to asking people for money again? This is now 2 years later. Or like, even if it's selling the cars, selling the shambas, we'll figure it out. So this one, even we did no fundraising. We just took him to India. About the legalities of being a donor, those are things we didn't know. So India also, the food is not the same as Kenya. Like in the state you were in, it was a vegetarian state. So I remember my brother was being told, have a high protein diet. And he's like, high protein. As we know, protein is chicken, meat. Here, the protein is peas, cowpeas, dal. So a lot of cultural changes, language barrier, and we were damn homesick. And the heartache of when his spirit was high, he was like, Rene, if I make this transplant, first of all, we've gotten a donor who, after I was nullified from being a donor, he was like, then me, I'm here. I'm here to stay. We've gotten a donor in like record time. Because I remember when the doctor told me I can't be a donor, I was like, my brother looks a bit well because he was admitted for like a week when we landed. He looked sick when we were going, and is like he came back to himself. So I'm telling the doctor, it seems we are a bit disorganized. We just go back to Kenya and then come back when we're organized? He's like, why are you taking your brother? He won't even make through that flight. And I'm like, the way he looks healthy is not looking and being were different. He's like, this, you go plan yourself, but leave him here. So yeah, so from the cultural differences, it was.
And how did this impact both you and your mom?
My mom, even if she came in here, she would just start crying. She's never been the same. Even me, I'm teary a bit. But I've become a guru. I think I was so used to the bad news in India. I know how to suck in tears. Like when we're told the bile, you just, he's next to you and your doctor and you. I really know how to. It changed us. It changed, first of all, I always say that he lived, like when he was fat K, between 1 and 30, 0 and 30. My brother was very active. He was different. So it changed me in a way that nowadays I'm like, if you are happy in that moment, if you can do what you want to do, like he did his cars. He told my mom that I want to go to uni. He's about these cars things. And he followed his dream. So it changed me in a lot of my outlook in life. Right now, tell someone, go and do what you love. He lived a very full life. In fact, I just look at him and I'm like, when I see his photos, I'm like, hey, you knew you were not going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
You didn't play with your days.
Exactly. And he had his first child very
Yes.
young, as you had said as well.
Yes. In fact, my mom says, when I was being told I'm becoming a grandmother, then I was very furious. But I didn't know it's because he would never get a chance to have other kids. Yeah, that was his chance at that time.
Yeah. And how do you remember him now?
Oh, it's crazy because he loved to dance and he loved to sing. So his car was quite loud. He had the speakers. He would walk in here, you'd have heard him from the barrier. So music, I know his favorite songs. So I would sit somewhere and I just smile. I'm like, that's him. So I remember him with his smile and his laughter. Then he loved cracking jokes. He was a better storyteller than me. In fact, if he was here to tell his story, you guys would be cracking up. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I remember him, the laughter and
Yeah.
music.
And what would you advise a family going through something similar, like a family member coming into disability much later in life? Is there any advice or anything you would really share?
Like for me, you're now imagining I've been left an only kid. People should really appreciate their friends. My friends have carried me through the whole journey from the amputation to even I did a blood run when he was in hospital, and it was during COVID. And what the amount of people who came through for me, there were a lot. And don't be scared to share. Like, talk to anyone. I used to get solutions. Like the guy who had polio, yes, they didn't agree, but he gave him a few pointers. He told him, generalize your pain. He gave him a few pointers that he took back. No, it wasn't 100% loss. Like, I would say talk about it. Talk. Even that's why I'm here. I want to talk and let everyone, tell everyone who's going through disability, talk about it.
And you just mentioned you had a blood run and you had also had a fundraiser.
Yeah.
How did you go about those, like popularizing them, just getting people to donate as much as possible?
Yeah. As much as people say, oh, when you oversharing, no. People will always have everything you do will have people who have negativity and positivity about it. But I will tell you one thing. The positive was more than the negative. Like, because when I was posting my brother and his condition, and some people are like, oh, why are you sharing too much about your life? Everyone was going through something. But we raised a lot of money. And even we were getting 100 bob from strangers, 50 shillings. As I told you, my brother was fat K. So I got the help of DJ Exclusive. I got the help of the people who had known him from. So I'd say I'd removed a lot of people in the industry. There was Shafi. So I was very grateful from that foundation. And because we were not, I think none of us live there anymore. But even DJ Exclusive, were in primary school together. So they really spread the word and came through. Because I remember there was a guy who called me during the blood run. Sasa, like, hi, so do you need blood? Yeah. Just send me fare. I'll be there. And I was like, I don't know this guy. He's seen my number. And he wants to show up. He just doesn't have transport. So I was very, very, very impressed. I remember some lady called me. She used to check up. How's your brother? Has he left? How is he going to cope without the legs? Is he going? How are you guys coping? Yeah. So my mom, I'll go back to her. She thinks she questions everything. Like, did I do this right? Did you go to India more, as I was telling you? She really, it's a tall order, but I'm there for her, and I have most amazing relatives and friends. I no longer feel, I think even my friends are so kind. I have two sisters, Beverly and Laura. They put me in a group and told me, Rene, Warembo, was in a group. And so now I feel like I have sisters. I've never had a family group because we're having me, my brother, and my mother. Yeah. It used to be very easy to communicate. So I'm now in a family group. I have an amazing best friend. Her mom also is diabetic, lost her toe. So she's the one who also guided me. So I'm very, like, you don't know how you meet people in life and how they're going to impact you way later. Because when I was choosing her as a bestie, I didn't know a few years later I was going to talk about to her, wow, the toes are now black. So, and I remember she told me, yeah, it happens.
Can you tell us a bit about the financial implications of all the medication, all the surgeries, and the effect they've had on your family?
Wow, it was a lot of money. As I said, liver transplant, 5 million. we used to spend every day in an apartment because you're not going to stay in hospital with him the whole time. I had a nephew there. He's a man, so I knew he would want to be changed. He wanted a man around, so I carried my nephew. So the apartment I'm staying in is $50 a day. So every day, that time the exchange rate was kinder. Now it's not like today. So that's roughly, let's just say 6,000. Minus our food, minus the days the weather is too sunny, you want to take a tuk-tuk. So it's quite expensive, just being in India. So plus the medication. So that's it. And it only covered for the transplant. Like anything else like this bile and the surgery was not counted. So that's a whole total expense. For the amputation, I'll go back to that. So he unfortunately got an infection on one of the legs. That was quite interesting because he got an infection that normally people who are actually in war areas get. So I would not like to get into it because it's a bit controversial because of the hospital. But yeah, so he got an infection. When he got the infection, they had to cut the leg right below the knee. So meaning the stump could not enter a prosthesis. So they actually had to do plastic surgery where they took meat from his thigh and put underneath so that we don't lose the knee. But the knee is very important. Any amputation, if you are told, it's below the knee because it will be easier to walk. For his weight, his height also, even they reduced his height when he got the prosthesis. Oh, by the way, the prosthesis costed us 1.8 million.
This is the prosthetics alone?
Yes.
Are they that expensive?
If you want good quality,
Okay.
that's how much they cost. Yeah, so that's the only good thing about it. It covers physio. And you can walk in any outlet in the world. We used to go to their outlet in India. And they don't charge for anything unless you come out with a product. Free physio anywhere.
Wait, this is if you have this surgery in India?
No. The processes we got in Kenya, in Ngong Road, it's called Otobok. It's a German company. So they have outlets all over the world.
Oh.
If you enter, you get free physio anywhere. If he went to the UK and found Otobok, he would walk in and be done free physio. Adjustments for free. So I would say it's expensive, but to us it was because he used to go in India for the physio.
And was the physio to help him learn how to use them?
This process is a learning curve. So when you're from surgery, even if you give birth through C-section, you're told you have to walk around. It's healthy. So sitting on the wheelchair was not helping. So he used to go for physio to speed his recovery and also to prep you for a big surgery because your heart rate, everything you're moving now. So, yeah.
And I can also imagine how much you had to learn.
I learned a lot. I learned the technological terms. Like about the liver, I think I know everything about the liver. About plastic surgery, whatever he was done, where you remove the meat and put under so that he doesn't lose his knee, it's called a flap. And this is a foreign meat that is coming in a place where it's under. So that flap, they are hardly successful. In fact, that's the only win I can say my brother actually won. Because after losing the leg, that is the only thing that was actually 100% successful. In fact, I always kept telling him, to save his knee, it cost us like 5 million. So that's why you're hearing I'm talking about Aga Khan, we spent 10 million because of the plastic surgery. It was just a normal amputation. It would have been easy and go. But the doctors advised us, if you guys want him to have an easier life, if you guys can raise funds for this, let's try save the knee. Just don't cut it out because it would be very odd for him to have one knee and then the other leg is shorter.
Yeah. And before he passed, did you notice that anything was wrong? I know people usually say there's something spiritual that happens before someone passes. Did you notice any change in him?
Yeah, he talked a lot. He was so talkative the last day. But I was open with him because I'm like, Kevin, I think you're scared. He's like, yeah, Rene, I'm scared. Then you see, he had been in and out of surgery because even saving the knee, I think he went through 10 surgeries. Short, 1 hour, 30 minutes, like very many surgeries. So we knew a surgery is critical by how many hours it was. So we didn't expect the surgery to be that long. So the doctor talked about 8 hours. And I'm like, 8 hours? So the minute he told me 8 hours, and I was like, this is an intense surgery. But I think in India, because they see so much, because people come from all over the world to be treated, they don't really see it as a big deal. The only thing I saw that they were like, the surgery is huge, is a transplant. Because the doctor didn't really magnify this surgery to be life-threatening, if I could say that. So we took him, the doctor is very calm about it, chilled about it. But my brother, deep down, you could see he's scared. So my mom's sister was sick when we were in India. So every Sunday she used to go to see her. Like it became her routine. We are not around, so there's one she's calling for a plan because Sunday is family Sunday. So then many people used to go and see her sister also. So normally every Sunday she would call when she's there, but my brother would not talk to anyone or probably talk to one person. But that, because he died on a Monday, that Sunday he talked to every single person. And they say people know when they are going because it affected all my cousins so much because they were like, what? This guy said goodbye. And then as we used to take photos before every surgery, that day he refused to remove the mask for me to take the picture and do for me a peace sign because I used to send my mom because he had also gone through another surgery but just to clean his stomach. It was a minor thing. And I would always send, even the transplant, he did for me a very cool peace sign. I was like, see you when you see me. But this day he refused.
This was the final surgery.
Yeah. So I'll never forget. So my mom calls me, she's like, 8 hours are over. I'm like, Mom, these guys are like tailors. They don't tell you. The surgeries always take longer. So we go with my nephew. We go to the hospital. Then that day we were like, hey, let's treat ourselves. We ordered KFC. So we ate KFC in the apartment. Then went to see him. So I texted the doctor. He's like, you can come now. Then normally after every surgery, they take you to ICU so that you can recover there in case you have any complications. It's a clean place. Hygiene is the best. There's a nurse watching you 24 hours. Clear doors, clear windows, everything. So I'm just walking in and I see people flying inside the ICU. And kumbe it was Kevin checking out. I almost found him, but I didn't. Because I would actually tell you, I saw his doctor wearing a coat. It's like because the doctor tells me he was okay. He had, even during the transplant, he had succumbed a bit, so they resuscitated him. But like for a second, where his blood pressure was low. So I was not shocked to hear that. We did, because he was telling me like a story. Me, I'm like, so I see he's alive. So when now the transplant happened, he was telling me now, Kevin had an incident where his blood was low. So we resuscitated him, but it wasn't an issue. He came right back up after a few seconds. So even this one, he thought he would have survived. But in fact, he was still working on him because he actually came out and told me, I'm still trying to save Kevin. And I'm like, why the hell are you still talking to me? Like, I should be inside. Don't tell me now. He's like, I'm working on it. Like, I'm still working on it because I found out that it was him. Because you see, ICU has many people. It could have been any other patient. But funny enough, that day, he was like the only 2 patients in that ICU he was in. So yeah, so then he told me yeah. So I would say Kevin pretty much was behaving like someone who knows what's happening.
I'm so sorry for that. So now you had to bring his body back to
Oh,
Kenya.
yes. Let me tell you how that is the worst thing of. Till today, everyone tells me, what was your worst experience ever? First of all, it's 300,000 Kenya shillings to bring back a body from India, the state I was in. They want cash, and you're like, which ATM is going to remove 300,000? So I remember my mom had to send Western Union because I drained all my ATMs. I think I raised like 80K, and I had some dollars still left, so I think it reached 150. And then the hospital still gave me a bill about the surgery, and I'm like, this was not successful. They're like, just pay what you want. So I think I swiped 100K, and they were giving me a bill of like 400. So bringing back that's what really shocked me. I didn't imagine it would be that expensive. So you actually go to cargo, and Indians like photos. Sorry, anyone in India, they like to advertise themselves with African people. So they actually took a photo of me and my nephew next to the casket. I'm very vocal. Me, you cannot misuse me, and I don't talk. How I knew I had left the building, I was not myself. I didn't say a word. I didn't. My nephew is like, Rene, do you know these people have taken a photo? Because they always used to keep taking photos of us. Even you're in a random place, they used to take photos of us. Like, they had never seen Africans. Like, we used to get that a lot. That's another thing about being in a foreign country and being African. So they actually took a photo of the bodies there, me and my nephew. And if you see that photo, I look like my body was there and my spirit was elsewhere. So that for me is the worst. I was like, if honestly I could change the world, I would make sure the people who die abroad come in the same plane you're with, even if they're given a boarding pass, like just cargo. Like, it's just like this table, this machinery.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing of. I cried so much. What? I was like, what? Like, keva amerudi tu kama mzigo, like just any other luggage. So it was bad. But any other thing, I was so lucky. I got a flight. I left him. I got a flight the same night. Because if I stayed in India another day, I would have gone crazy. And I wanted to be with my mom. So I was very lucky that I got the last flight, because that was a Monday night, Tuesday. Monday he passed on Tuesday morning, so Wednesday. So I got a flight. I landed in the morning and Kevin landed at lunchtime. And actually Emirates are the people, Air India doesn't deal with bodies.
Emirates?
Yes.
Okay. So what's it like now, picking the pieces as you learn how to navigate life without him?
Well, it's crazy. We are moving houses because he chose that house. He was always on the wheelchair, so he would pass with his wheelchair and scream, Rene. So the stairs don't, because you see, he would hardly. Sorry, I was doing well.
Okay.
So that's how it's come. I sold his car. He loved his car so much. And I remember when I gave the car dealer, I was like, sell for me the car. Very confidently. My mom first saw it. She was like, I don't want to see this car here. I don't want to see it. You guys get rid of it, Rene. I was like, okay. The day I had someone has bought it, I was so sad. I was like, I was happy it not being in a compound, but I felt so bad that it actually went. So sometimes you feel like it's interesting because you feel like you're getting rid of someone's memory. Like, even passing that house, I'm like, we're really going to not, we have instances where you've seen him we have a gazebo, like sitting there, like places so I'm like, wow, we're going to have a new house and there's not going to be his memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even all, I can't even move away from my mom because I said I'll always live with her. So my mom is like, even if you start your family, yeah, I'll just be with you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks.
His memory definitely lives on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Renee, any last words?
Yeah, my last words would be trying to have a social life when you're disabled was proving, as I mentioned, very hard to navigate. So I would even probably open an office if it is in the government and just make sure that everyone verifies any social building, any public building, and make sure that they have thought through the process of dealing with a disabled person on a wheelchair who can't stand. Yeah, like even like I was in South Africa, there was a section in a concert where they had a ramp for disabled people. Even I went to see Beyonce in London just a few months ago, and there was a section of this place where the people are on wheelchairs. So as much as you're told, oh, have a social, go back to your normal, try and live as normal as you are. What do people do about? Well, how do people think socially how this people can fit in? I think someone should open an office. If it's not me, I would open an office just to verify any public, any social area to have a place. Because even in the buses in London, they have a place for, yeah, so I think Kenya, we are really not doing justice to anyone with disability. That's my last words. And also everyone, share your story. Share. You don't know how it's going to impact someone. I hope this impacts someone.
We definitely need a lot more accessibility in Kenya. Well, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. Please give it a like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.